Welcome back, and we are in the Phantom Tollbooth, and we have entered the Valley of Sound, and one of the inhabitants is explaining why it's so quiet. He paused again as a tear of longing rolled from cheek to lip with the sweet, salty taste of an old memory. And all these sounds, when once used, would be carefully placed in alphabetical order and neatly kept for future reference. Everyone lived in peace and the valley flourished as the happy home of sound. But then things began to change, slowly at first, and then in a rush more people came to settle here and brought with them new ways and new sounds, some very beautiful and some less so. But everyone was so busy with the things that had to be done that they scarcely had time to listen at all. And as you know, a sound which is not heard disappears forever and is not to be found again. People laughed less and grumbled more, sang less and shouted more, and the sounds they made grew louder and uglier. It became difficult to hear even the birds or the breeze, and soon everyone stopped listening for them. Again, he cleared the blackboard as the humbug choked back a sob and continued writing. The soundkeeper grew worried and disconsolate. Each day there were fewer sounds to be collected, and most of those were hardly worth keeping. Many people thought it was the weather, and others blamed the moon. But the general consensus of opinion was that the trouble began at the time that rhyme and reason were banished. But no matter what the cause, no one knew what to do. Then one day, Dr. Discord appeared in the valley with his wagon of medicines and the bluish smoggy din. He made a thorough examination and promised to cure everyone of everything, and the soundkeeper let him try. He gave several bad-tasting spoonfuls of medicine to every adult and child, and it worked, but not really as expected, for he cured everybody of everything but noise. The soundkeeper became furious. She chased him from the valley forever, and then issued the following decree. From this day forward, the Valley of Sound shall be silent. Since sound is no longer appreciated, I hereby abolish it. Please return all unused amounts to the fortress immediately. And that's the way it has been ever since, he concluded sadly. There is nothing we can do to change it, and each day new hardships are reported. A small man with his arms full of letters and messages pushed through the crowd and offered them to Milo. Milo took one which read, Dear Soundkeeper, we had a thunderstorm last week and the thunder still hasn't arrived. How long should we wait? Yours truly, a friend. Then he took a telegram which stated, Band concert, great success, stop. When may we expect the music? Stop. Now you see, continued the writer, why you must help us attack the fortress and free sound. What can I do? Wrote Milo. You must visit the soundkeeper and bring from the fortress one sound, no matter how small, with which to load our cannon. For if we can reach the walls with the slightest noise, they will collapse and free the rest. It won't be easy, for she is hard to deceive, but you must try. Milo thought for just a moment, and with a resolute, I shall, volunteered to go. And there's the soundkeeper. Within a few minutes, he stood bravely at the fortress door. Knock, knock, he wrote neatly on a piece of paper, which he pushed under the crack. In a moment, the great portal swung open, and as it closed behind him, a gentle voice sang out, Right this way, I'm in the parlor. Can I talk now? Cried Milo, happily hearing his voice again. Yes, but only in here, she replied softly. Now do come into the parlor. Milo walked slowly down the long hallway and into the little room where the soundkeeper sat listening intensely to an enormous radio set whose switches, dials, knobs, meters, and speaker covered one whole wall, and which at the moment was playing nothing. Look at her. Isn't that lovely? She sighed. It's my favorite program, 15 minutes of silence. And after that, there's a half hour of quiet, then an interlude of lull. Why did you know that there Oh, sorry. Why, did you know that there are almost as many kinds of stillness as there are sounds? But sadly enough, no one pays attention to them these days. Have you ever heard the wonderful silence just before the dawn? She inquired. Or the quiet and calm just as the storm ends? Or, the silence when you haven't the answer to a question you've been asked? Or the hush of a country road at night? Or the expectant pause of a room full of people when someone is just about to speak? Or, most beautiful of all, the moment after the door closes and you're alone in the whole house? Each one is different, and all very beautiful if you listen carefully. As she spoke, the thousand of little bells and chimes which covered her from head to toe tinkled softly, and as if in reply, the telephone began to ring too. For someone who loves silence, she certainly talks a great deal, thought Milo. At one time, I was able to listen to any sound made at any place at any time, the soundkeeper remarked, pointing towards the radio wall. But now I merely... Pardon me, interrupted Milo as the phone continued to ring, but aren't you going to answer it? Oh, no, not in the middle of a program, she replied and turned the silence up a little louder. But it may be important, insisted Milo. Not at all, she assured him. It's only me. It gets so lonely around here with no sounds to distribute or collect that I call myself 7 or 8 times a day just to see how I am. How are you? He asked politely. Not very well, I'm afraid. I seem to have a touch of static, she complained. But what brings you here? Of course you've come to tour the vaults. Well, they're usually open to the public only on Mondays from 2 to 4. But since you've traveled so far, we'll make an exception. Follow me, please. And we'll leave it there as he's about to tour the vaults of sounds. Until next time.